Hello and welcome to what can be a pretty sunny part of Wiltshire, which partly explains why we've just had a new solar array installed by DES Renewables from Wimborne in Dorset. Now that was 3 weeks ago and they've just asked how they did. I think they were expecting an online review, but I thought I could do a bit better than that. So here's a video review of my experience of them as a business and the products that they installed for us. Firstly, it's important to be clear this isn't a sponsored video. This was something we paid for ourselves and I haven't been asked to produce this on their behalf, nor am I receiving anything from them for this review. So, first question is, why did we go with DES Renewables? Well, when we'd started to look for solar, we went through the usual solar clearing centres where they put you in touch with installers from your areas who provide what you're looking for. I have to say that was a fairly painful process. There were lots of boilerplate offers from people who wanted to maximise their sales but couldn't always answer many questions about their own products. And they didn't really offer much by way of options. We found DES Renewables to be very different in their approach. They had great product knowledge, a variety of product and installation offerings, and most importantly from my point of view, they didn't try to oversell at every single opportunity. Many of the companies we approached suggested 14 or 15 panels, starting with a calculation of the available roof space. DES were different. They found out what we use our power for now and what we might be using in the next couple of years. They were the only supplier to think about a future electric vehicle charger and had an altogether more professional approach. Based on what we discussed, they suggested 11 panels, total output of 5 kilowatt hours. Now that was fewer than others had suggested, but after discussing storage and electric resale options, it made sense given how much power we were using each year. As you can see from these shots taken during the installation, the fitting is excellent with no visible wiring. Each of the panels was fitted with an optimizer, though you can't see those once the panels are up. This means if one panel becomes obscured by cloud or trees in leaf, it doesn't power down all the panels to the same level. This was a suggestion from DES themselves and is an example of the thinking they put into their solution. They were only one of 2 companies that considered this. As you can see, we're directly south facing, so well positioned for solar. But it's always good to know we won't drop output considerably if one of the panels were to get shadow from one of the trees. DES Renewables were also knowledgeable and helpful on battery storage, and after some discussions they also installed a 6.5 kilowatt hour battery and a hot water diverter, and they talked us through a range of potential panels, batteries and installations. That means that the panels in our installation power the house first, with any excess going to the battery. It's typically fully charged by 10:30 in the morning at this time of year, which is May. If there's any excess after the battery is full, the power diverts to heating the hot water tank, and only after that does it start spilling power to the grid. All of that's configurable, and we were talked through those options both before the sale and during the installation itself. We'll look at the figures a little later, but spoiler alert, it's been more impressive than I'd thought. We power the house by electricity, however heating and water is by gas. We've also now had a full tank of hot water since installing the panels. Now it comes with a caveat that this is May and not November, but it means our gas use has also declined since the solar panels have been in place. As a company, their advice was objective, helpful, and so far pretty much on the money. When it comes to the installation itself, this was planned in on dates to suit us, with 3 stages. The first was the scaffolding being put in place, the second the install of the panels and electrics, and finally the takedown of the scaffolding. This whole job took a week from start to end with 2 days on site. The electrical and roofing fitters were very quick, treated the house with care and very easy to get on with, explaining what they'd be doing, talking through the fit and checking we were happy before they left. They also walked us through the operation fully and tidied up after themselves. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, they can come back anytime they want. The garage, which is where the battery was placed, was tidier after they'd left than it was before they'd arrived. So, what did they install in the garage? In fairness, there's quite a bit of electrical work to be done and a couple of sizable electrical components to be fitted. DES helped find the best location to maintain the battery performance, and it doesn't cause us a problem being in the garage. As you can see, we have a grow-watt battery which holds 6.5 kilowatt hours of charge. It's 70 centimetres tall, 60 wide, and extends 17 centimetres from the wall. Above the battery there is the unit that manages conversion of DC to AC and determines whether the power is coming from the grid, the panels, or the battery. That's similarly sized, 60 centimetres tall, 57 wide, and 20 deep. This, indeed the whole lot, could be put in the loft, but I'd suggest discussing those options as it can impact on battery life and whether any additional insulation is required. In terms of battery power, the battery powers the house throughout the evening and the night on the power it's stored during daylight hours the day before. I'm sure in the depths of winter that isn't going to be the case, but we're still looking at being largely self-sufficient from mid-spring until late autumn. The other bonus is that the excess power being sold to the grid is enough to cover the standing charge for both our electricity and gas supply. All in all, it's been a great outcome and should pay for itself in about 8 years. I wouldn't have any hesitation in recommending DES Renewables if you're looking for a supplier who knows what they're talking about and does an excellent job at a competitive price.